to the first installment of the MMA Talk. I don't know what to call this yet, but I'll figure out a name at some point. But I'm Donovan Lashar. I am part of the On the Spot network, which was created by Moi. And I'm just basically here talking about MMA, boxing. I might do a couple podcasts, but I want to figure this out first. And so, first off, I want to say sorry for the noise. People are doing landscaping around the property. It is a little hard for you to hear me, I can tell. But it's good. It's all right. We'll continue. That's why it's called On the Spot. That's why I'm sitting on a $50 chair with my iPhone perched up next to a Mountain Dew water bottle. It's fine. It's perfect. And so let's begin with the card that happened last week, UFC 279, headlined by Nate Diaz and Tony Ferguson. Nate Diaz and Tony Ferguson, that fight was the fight we were looking forward to. We weren't looking forward to Nate and Hamza. We were not looking forward to that fight. We all knew the outcome of that fight. But then as soon as the fights changed, and we'll get into that, it got more interesting because Nathan Diaz versus Tony Ferguson was the fight to make on that card. It was the fight to make. It's two legends, two absolute legends, starting from the beginning. They both were the Ultimate Fighter winners. They were both early Ultimate Fighter winners. I think it was season 5, season 6 that Tony won, or season 12, around there, but it was early days. And so this was the fight that they needed to make, and they did make it, and it was a good fight. It was a good fight up until the 4th round. But we did get to see the age and the reason why Father Time is undefeated, because towards the 3rd round, you could see that Tony was just not used to the output that he would usually bring. Because he's used to going 5 rounds, easy money, But in this fight, he gassed out by the 4th, and I feel as though it's because of the weight. He went to Greg Jackson for a little bit. I think it was 3 months or so, put on a little bit of weight. But it takes time in order for you to get acclimated to the weight you put on. I could put on 20 pounds of muscle, but if I start running after that, I'm going to get more tired because I got more weight to carry, And so it really did show. And Nate, being a natural welterweight, this was easy for him. And so it was something we were definitely looking forward to. I thought Tony was going to win, but Nate Diaz pulled out submission off the ground, off his back. It reminded me of when, he was giving the double fingers and everything, and doing the triangle chokes, and it's a good way to see him, get out of the UFC. Where does he go from here? He's, talked about doing boxing and everything, and possibly coming back. I think that could be a good idea. But it is up to him. It's his decision. And so that fight was amazing. We then had the co-main event, which I feel was a little different, because we had Khamzat Chimaev, undefeated so far, versus Kevin Holland, the big mouth, the big guy, tall, long, and lengthy, as Josh Thompson likes to say. And so we saw just a masterclass on the ground. Kevin Holland, good on the stand, good on the ground, okay, black belt in jiu-jitsu, I think he's black belt in karate, and he just got manhandled on the ground, and it was just something different. And so he was able to get that body lock. Khamzat was able to get the body lock and just drag him down, and it was quick. It was easy. Where do I feel Khamzat goes from here? I feel as though he can't go back down to 170 right now. I feel like he needs to know that there are consequences with missing weight. Charles Oliveira knows all too much about that. Oh, hi, Luna. Everybody, this is my cat, Luna. She comes up every once in a while. Say hi. Okay. All right. But where does he go from here? I feel as though he should stay at 185. I feel like him versus somebody good on the ground, like Derek Brunson, like a Marvin Vittori, get him into that upper echelon of 185. Because people have been talking about him being a number one contender. Nobody's just done it yet. And where do I see Kevin Holland coming from this? See, he took on a very tough opponent within 24 hours notice. All these fighters I give nothing but respect to. I feel as though Kevin Holland should get another easy-ish fight just to get back into it. Another young prospect. I feel like he should probably go up against somebody like Edmund Shabazian. Another kickboxer, tall, long, and lengthy, was with Ronda Rousey for a little bit, one of their training partners. And I feel like that'd be a good fight. And so now for the third fight, we had one of the oddballs. We had Li Jing Liang versus Derek Rodriguez, I think is his name. And that was possibly fight of the night. Like, I feel as though both of them should have gotten a fight of the night bonus. I don't think any of them did. But I feel like Li Jing Liang being 10 pounds lighter than D-Rod and putting on a performance like that, I feel like he's got potential to go places, And with D-Rod, I didn't know very much of him. I feel as though this was his first time on the main card. He's usually the preliminary card, and so people don't usually see it. But after this fight, I'm going to start watching him. He's that type of person. He's a person that will go after you at almost all times. He is that type of guy that in a bar, if you see him getting angry, you run. You go, no, I'm not dealing with this. Because the way he performed his techniques was the way I thought Tony Ferguson should have applied his techniques. Spinning back fists, going backwards, It was very unorthodox stuff, but at the same time, it worked. It got Lee in the second. I think it got him in the third at some point. But Li Jing Liang in his traditional style, his two down the pipe coming with the check hook afterwards, just to kind of make them think, make them guess, and then throwing those body kicks. It was very tight, very, very good. The technique was there, and so I feel like Li Jing Liang should have won 29-28, but I also don't doubt the judge's decision to give D-Rod that fight. I feel like Li Jing Liang should get another good stand-up fight, like a Michelle Ferreira, one of those classy, fun ones, because his stock didn't really drop, and so I feel as though he should only go up from here. Now with D-Rod, I don't know D-Rod that well, but I do know he went up against somebody on 24 hours notice. He put on a hell of a performance, and I feel as though he deserves to be in the top 15. Now, who does he fight? I would have no idea, but I feel as though the opponents in the 180, 185, like the middleweight range, there's some killers there. And so he's got to figure out something. He's got to implement more wrestling. He's got to get onto the ground, because these people at 185 will just light his world up in the striking room. Like people like Robert Whitaker, Israel, maybe even Marvin Vittori with this boxing. I feel like it got some problems. But so that's enough of UFC 279. It was a great card. I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was not what everybody was expecting, but now it is time to have the but anyways, now it is time to predict the fights coming up on this next card. I believe it's UFC Vegas or something like that. It's over it's in the U.S. It's a couple of nice cards. I believe it's headlined by Corey Sandhagen and Song Yadong, two prolific strikers with their own things in mind. I have the sheet right here, as you can tell, on the spot podcast. You know, the $50 chair. I got a sweatshirt on. We're good. Corey Sandhagen has a record of 14-4. Won his last. He had a loss against T.J. Dillashaw, which was a very close fight. He won against Frankie Edgar with a flying knee, which was unexpected. But he's a very elusive fighter. Uses his footwork a lot. And then we got Song Yadong. He's 19-6-1 with one no contest. His last fight was I believe another win. Another win. He's been going on a tear so far. And my prediction for this fight, I do feel as though Corey Sandhagen has a bit of an edge, being 5'11" in the bantamweight division, unheard of. And then add to the fact of him with his footwork, it's almost a Muhammad Ali type of thing where he's just bouncing around the cage, just waiting for that shot. And then there's Song Yadong, one of the more traditional martial artists, you know, the Muay Thai, you know, hands up, throwing kicks, throwing 1-2s, maybe a couple hooks here and there. He's powerhouse, fire hydrant of a man. And it's a 5-round fight. It's a main event. I feel as though Corey's got this, 60-40, like 60% Corey Sandhagen, 40% Song Yadong. I feel like Song Yadong has a chance, but he has to get inside of that phone booth range. He's got to get in there, and he's got to stick him. He's got to touch him. He's got to hurt him. He's got to keep it in the clinch with those elbows and everything. Song Yadong very aggressive in the clinch. But Corey Sandhagen better on the ground. I feel he's more crafty. But my prediction on that is Corey Sandhagen. I would guess by decision, but if I had to choose a knockout round, it would probably be the third or the fourth. I feel like he's going to figure himself out and then, boom, throw that head kick or throw that 1-2 combo that's just going to get him out. And so now we have, how do I say his name? Chidi Njukwe at 22-7 versus Gregory Rodriguez, 12-4. Gregory Rodriguez, don't know if most of you guys, I don't expect you guys to know either of these fighters. Is a relatively unknown card, but Njukwe is a monster. Very tall for the division, very big. He's very powerful for the division. I think he had a first round TKO about a month ago or so, where he just absolutely obliterated his opponent from start to finish. You know, throwing the boxing combos, throwing a couple of low kicks here and there. But I feel as though Gregory Rodriguez has more to bring to the table. He's got a more, well-rounded game than Njukwe does. And so I feel as though if this gets past the first round, it's going to be Rodriguez's game. But if it's in the first round, he's got to be careful for Njukwe's power, because his power, unlike anything else we've seen, it's in another world. And so my guess for that is that Njukwe does get him out in the first round because of the power. And so I got Njukwe winning by a first round TKO. I got him winning 70% and then Rodriguez winning 30%, because I feel like he does have a couple of ways of finishing it, but I don't see it to be very likely. All right, and so after this we got Andre Philly, 21-9, and then Bill Agio, 16-6. Andre Philly's last fight was a loss to Brito by TKO in the first round. He's a very crafty fighter, Philly. He's very tight. He's 1-2 down the pipe, trying to feint, get there. Once he gets to the ground, prolific on the ground. But I don't feel like he has the wherewithal to be able to go against Algeo. Because Algeo did win against Burns. I believe it was a TKO in the first round or so. Yeah, it was a TK. Yeah, it was a TK win against Burns. And so I feel as though people riding a win is a lot better to go with than somebody that's going off of a loss, because the confidence is supposed to be there. You know, Hamza is undefeated because he's so confident. Conor McGregor garnered all these fans because he was so confident. He called himself Mystic Mac, for crying out loud. He guessed when the fight would end. And so I feel as though the fight is exactly what the record should say, because, you know, Andre Philly has had more fights, but Bill does have a better like record win-loss ratio, and so I do feel as though RJO is just gonna slightly get past this, because it's just like the Njikwe fight or the co-main. If it gets past the first round, I feel like RJO's got it. I feel like he will point fight this, or maybe he might go for the kill. We never know. But so I got RJO going 55-45. I got him winning by a decision. But if I had to go knockout, it'd probably be second round, around there. But yeah, nah. So I mean, it's a heck of a good card. I think there was supposed to be another fight, but it got canceled or something. I believe it was like Sarah. No, it was. No, that was on the preliminary fight. Sarah McMahon versus I forgot her name. I mean, I feel as though that fight, with Sarah McMahon being a bit older and everything, it's the thing that's compelling me to see this fight, but it's also the thing that's deterring me from it, because Sarah McMahon is one of those legends in the sport. You know, it's like, she's been here since day one. She's gone through it all. She's been with the best. But I feel like that wears on a person after a while. If you're fighting nothing but the best people, and it's close or you're losing, it affects you after a while. And so I do feel as though Sarah McMahon is somebody to look out for, especially with her opponent, because with her opponent, she's really good. She's really good on the ground, really good in the striking department. The cardio is something to really look at and be like, can this last 3 rounds? We don't know. We will find out. I love this card so far. I loved last week's card. I'm going to try to do more podcasts like this. It's just a little difficult, as you can tell. That's why it's called On the Spot, because it's going to be on the spot, just right then and there. Please leave a like. Please leave a comment if you'd like to, about more ideas, about any of your opinions on the fights. Yeah, no, I'm going to try to do this once or twice a week. One reviewing the card, and then predicting the next card. And then maybe if there's any news or anything, we'll go through that. But yeah, no, a good set of fights coming up. A good set of fights last week. I feel as though this whole entire thing is coming together. And I'll try to see if I can squeeze in a video for that boxing fight coming up with Canelo and Triple G. You'll probably see that in a little bit. But anyways, this has been Donovan from the On The Spot Network, saying I am now off the spot.